You know, every year, India spends thousands upon thousands of crores on nutrition. But the big question is that money actually moving the needle? Well, in this explainer, we're going straight to the source, the government's own budget and monitoring documents, to really demystify one of its biggest programs, Saksham, Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0. We're going to find out what it is, how it's supposed to work, and maybe most importantly, how they even measure success.
So just to give you an idea of the sheer scale we're talking about here, think about this. This one single program provides nutritional support to over 9 crore people. That's more than the entire population of Germany. It is a truly colossal undertaking, and it's aimed right at the foundation of the nation's health, young kids and new moms.
Alright, so here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to zoom out and see where nutrition fits into the nation's overall priorities. Then we'll zoom way in, deep into the Poshan 2.0 mission itself. And finally, we'll zoom back out to see how this whole thing connects to the wider social safety net. Ready? Let's dive in.
Okay, so before we can really get into the nitty-gritty of one specific scheme, you got to understand where it fits in the grand scheme of things, right? And the national budget, well, it tells a story about what a country really cares about. So that's where we'll start.
Okay, now take a look at this. This table is straight from the official Demands for Grants document. And what's super interesting here is how the government actually categorizes its spending. You see, medical health, social security, and nutrition are all listed as separate things. This tells us that even though they're all part of the same big goal of public welfare, they're treated as unique challenges with their own dedicated budgets and specific goals. And that's a really key piece of context to have before we zero in on the nutrition piece.
And that right there leads us straight to the heart of what we're talking about today. At the very core of India's mission for better nutrition is this one massive consolidated program.
So what is this thing exactly? Well, according to the official documents, Poshan 2.0 isn't some brand new program built from scratch. It's what's called an umbrella scheme. That means it takes a few really important long-running initiatives and brings them all together. The whole point is to get them to work together more efficiently and, as the document says, to maximize nutritional outcomes.
And wow, the amount of money behind this is just huge. For this fiscal year, the budget for this one mission is a staggering 23,100 crore rupees. To put that in perspective for you, that's more than the entire budget for the Ministry of External Affairs. A number that big tells you just how important this issue is on a national level. So, a huge budget is great, but where does all that cash actually go? How is it structured to make a real difference on the ground? Let's peel back the layers and look at what makes up this scheme.
Essentially, this whole program is built on 3 big foundational pillars that have been around for a while. The bedrock of Anganwadi services, the more targeted national nutrition mission, and the specific scheme for adolescent girls. The real game changer with Poshan 2.0 was bringing all of them together under one single roof.
And this is where you can see the new game plan in action. They've basically taken those pillars and reorganized everything into 3 super clear areas of focus. First, direct nutrition support for moms and kids. Second, early childhood care and education. And third, a big push to upgrade the physical infrastructure to create these modern, capable Saksham Anganwadis.
Okay, this next part is absolutely crucial. We're talking about accountability. Because let's be real, it's not enough to just throw money at a problem, right? There's now a formal system in place to check if that spending is actually getting the results it's supposed to.
And this quote, right from the official monitoring document, really says it all. There is a very deliberate, very clear shift away from just tracking outlays, which is just the money spent, and moving towards measuring result-oriented outputs and outcomes. In other words, they're saying, we're done just talking about how much we're spending. We want to talk about the results we're getting.
So you hear these 2 words a lot, output and outcome. What's the difference? Well, think of it this way. An output is the thing you do. It's direct, it's measurable, like upgrading a certain number of centers. An outcome, on the other hand, is the result you want. It's the big picture change you're trying to create, like actually reducing malnutrition. One is the action, the other is the impact.
All right, so let's put that into practice. Here's a perfect example of an output target. The goal for Poshan 2.0 is to upgrade 40,000 Anganwadi centers into these modern, well-equipped Saksham Anganwadis every single year. It's a clear, physical, and totally measurable action. And this is the outcome. This is the why. This is the ultimate goal that all those upgraded centers are trying to achieve.
The mission has these incredibly specific targets for reducing malnutrition. They're aiming for an annual reduction of 2% in how many kids are underweight and a 0.5% reduction in childhood wasting. These are the hard numbers that will tell us if the program is really working.
Okay, so let's pull back and look at the big picture again. Because as important as this massive 23,100 crore mission is, it's not working in a silo. It's really just one critical thread in a much, much larger web of health and social justice programs.
The core idea here is something called convergence. It's the simple but powerful idea that all these different programs need to work together. They create this safety net that can support people from all different angles, whether it's their health, their education, or their financial security.
And you can totally see this web in action when you look through the budget documents. Poshan 2.0 isn't an island. It works hand in hand with huge programs like Ayushman Bharat for health insurance, PM Janman for vulnerable tribal groups, and Mission Vatsalya for child protection. They're all pieces of the same puzzle, this concerted effort to improve health and deliver social justice.
So let's recap. We've got a massive budget, we've got a clear new strategy, and we have a system that's specifically designed to measure actual results. Which brings us to the big final question. With all of these pieces in place, will this mission finally be the thing that turns the tide on the stubborn challenge of malnutrition in India?